we come out of the pandemic, as we look to the problems that many people are facing around mental health, people are also battling to cope with issues around addiction. In some cases, as a result of prescribed drugs. In the US, you may know about the massive opioid scandal. A very large number of people got addicted to drugs that were prescribed to them. Dr. Shaquir Salduker is a member of the South African Society of Psychiatrists. Dr. Salduker, good afternoon to you. We've seen what happened in the US. How big is that problem here, this addiction to prescription drugs, and particularly opioids?
Hi there. Yeah, look, I mean, the US problem is much larger, on a larger scale, and with much heavier degrees of opiates. We have a problem primarily with codeine, which is very freely available in South Africa, and in fact, even without prescription. So because the opiate crisis in America is claiming so many hundreds of thousands of lives a year, it's getting a lot of press and coverage. We're not getting that with codeine because it's very subliminal, and it's being used by, we estimate in the region of anything between 11 and 25% of people in the country, knowingly or unknowingly, to kind of alleviate symptoms more than just pain. They're using it for sleep and stress and to help them deal with the difficulties that we're faced with.
Hold on. Are you saying 1/4 of people in the country have a problem with codeine, or did I misunderstand you?
So the problem is we can't get accurate statistics. That's a guesstimate because of what we see in practice. If we take the kind of patients that we see in practice and reflect that onto the population, it can, I think, my personal opinion is that it can go up to in the region of 20 to 25% of people that take it more than they should be. So it's a very difficult thing to manage, because remember, it's being prescribed by doctors, it's being dispensed by pharmacists. So there's no way of us being able to see how much of it is use and how much of it is abuse and dependence.
It's a very high number. How do you know if you're addicted? I mean, what are the signs? If you're taking, if you're taking pills on a regular basis, you should ask yourself, why are you doing it?
Well, that's the point. I mean, painkillers are meant to be taken for not longer than a few days at any given time for a particular reason. If you're taking it on a daily basis for more than a few weeks, which become months and then years, obviously it's overuse, it's abuse, and eventually it becomes an addiction. The addiction part of it is characterized by developing what is called tolerance, where you need more and more of the tablet to get the same effect, and withdrawals, where if you try to stop, you develop quite bad withdrawal symptoms. So if you have tolerance and withdrawals, then you've reached the point of addiction. I think the majority of people are abusing and overusing, and unfortunately, sad to say that in the medical profession, the understanding of the dangers of prescribing these drugs is not fully conceptually grasped. So doctors feel obliged to help patients with pain, and they continually give them, sometimes stronger and stronger levels of opioids.
How difficult is it to break the addiction?
Look, you must remember, codeine, when you swallow it, becomes morphine, and the chemical name for heroin is diacetylmorphine. So it's almost like taking heroin. If you take enough codeine, you can have the same effect as a small amount of heroin. So how difficult is it to stop? It's almost as difficult as getting people off heroin, because the worst withdrawals you have is with the opiates. Heroin falls into the group of drugs called opiates, as does morphine, pethidine, all the trauma drugs, the codeine-containing drugs, and there's many, many, many more. There are 30 to 40 different opiates on the market.
There was a proposal, about 10 years ago now, perhaps, that there'll be a sort of register that all of the pharmacists would have to basically put in how many prescriptions or how many people, let me start again. There would be a national way of knowing if someone was actually having too much. What would happen is if they went to a pharmacy and they took some codeine pills home, they got the codeine pills, that pharmacy would be able to know how many other pharmacies had actually given them the same kind of tablet over a certain period. The idea was you'd be able to monitor it in a better way. I don't think it was ever implemented. Do we need something like that?
Well, I think it was implemented, and there was a time, the Pharmacy Council decided to take a stand against this abuse. Unfortunately, it's very easy to just send another person into the pharmacy and get a box of painkillers with codeine or a bottle of cough mixture. So I think it's still in play. I don't think it's been particularly effective because the problem is so widespread. There are people that sell codeine-containing medications out of pharmacies and doctors' offices. They sell them on the street corners as a drug, as they do with benzodiazepines, which are the anxiolytics, which is another group of drugs that's been, widely abused. It's becoming scarier now because there's this rise of a new drug amongst especially young kids called lean, which is a combination of cough mixtures and a cold drink like cream soda or whatever. And it's the codeine in the cough mixture that's actually mixed with the carbonated drink that gives them the high. So it's spreading from being prescription to street corner to now party drug.
Dr. Shaquir Salduker, thank you, member of the South African Society of Psychiatrists. I do appreciate the time.